All right, guys, welcome back to Earn Your Leisure United Masters
Yeah,
Edition.
that's our partners.
Select Con. Shout out to the good folks at United
Yeah, shout out
Masters.
to Dave, Christine, for holding it down over there. Appreciate
Yeah,
y'all.
yeah, yeah, good people, good people. So today's going to be an exciting conversation. We have two dynamites that we're going to talk about. The world of music, the world of business,
Yeah, financial
investing,
services
finances,
world.
all of
Yeah,
that stuff. So first up to bat with an introduction, Toby Nwigwe.
no wiggly, not wiggly. Did I get it?
Nwigwe, I ain't mad at you though.
I'm
Wait,
sorry.
wait, I ain't mad. I ain't mad.
So my name is Rashad Bilal. So people mess up my name all the time. So I'm hypersensitive whenever I never want to
You know,
disrespect
he,
somebody's
he he
name.
usually just goes, "You do it," and I'm like, "All right, I'm about
They
you."
call me Rashid. They call me all kinds of stuff. So
Oh,
I'm
I
sorry.
promise her way more, way worse in A League with substitutes.
And say cool, Kayleen.
Ka-
Uh,
Kaylin,
Kayleen.
got you.
He's been with Chase for 15 years and he's been in the banking industry for 20 years. And Toby is one of the hottest artists in the game right now.
Independent
One of the
artist.
most dangerous MCs coming out of the A-Leaf SWAT. We learned about the
Yeah.
SWAT. We learned about the
How I'm
SWAT.
doing? How I'm doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Toby is really dope because he has a really interesting backstory. He's Nigerian. He went to college for I think 4 years. I believe he used to be an athlete, and he told his family that he wanted to be a rapper, and they was like, "Why you want to be a rapper?"
What is this?
Yeah, but if you follow him on Instagram, he's like a very eclectic kind of guy because he's from Houston, but it's like you might see him with gold teeth in his mouth,
Yeah.
but then he has like live instruments, and then he
Yeah.
does a lot of political activism. So it's like a lot of different flavors.
Yeah.
It's like a gumbo
Yeah, he's
almost.
marketing it himself, branding it himself,
Yeah, he's
putting it out himself.
Yeah.
This guy is a dynamo.
He's a dynamo, and it's no wonder that he's working with United Masters because he's independent.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the conversation that we're gonna have. So Toby, first and foremost, thank you for joining us. I want to start with you, then say cool. I'm gonna go to you. So Toby, you come from, like I said, an interesting background as far as like being an athlete, going to college, and then wanting to be an entertainer. So taking an independent route, like, is that something that was taught in your household as far as having African parents? We all know that. I think Nigerians have the highest level of college degrees, I believe, out of
Oh,
any ethnic group in America, something like that. So
100%.
so was that something that you kind of you think had a head start as far as the business standpoint in your household?
Oh no, absolutely not. That's a strong hell no. My parents wanted me to do something extremely safe. They wanted me to do the natural Nigerian stuff, doctor, lawyer, engineer. So when I told them I was gonna be doing what I was gonna be doing, uh, and it all started from like a nonprofit. My mom looked at me like, "Why?" Like, Nigerians master the art of over dramatic negative encouragement. So like her first reaction to me being an entrepreneur and starting a nonprofit is, "Oh my God, why has God forsaken me? What have I done to deserve this type of cost?" So you know what I'm saying? She just couldn't understand like how it was gonna work out for me because like and I had to take it with a grain of salt because most Nigerian parents, especially for they first generation born kids in the U.S., they feel like, look, us doing what we had to do to get here was risk enough. Get into something that's gonna give you something right now, get you some ends right now, and don't do nothing else risky. We risked it all. You good. But once you saw like all the what I'm saying, accolades and everything that's came with me being an independent artist, an entrepreneur, business owner, all that type of stuff. The Dave Chappelle, the Beyonce playlist, the Michelle Obama stuff. Like she's relaxed.
We can't let that go over our heads. Like those are some prominent names you just said. Hell of an
Bro,
accomplishment.
we real blessed in this season.
So I got a quick question. When it comes to being independent, I know there's a lot that comes with everything is on you. Has there been a time from the beginning where your artistic vision actually collided with your financial reality?
Oh yeah. When I first started, cause you know what I'm saying, I was broke. You know what I'm saying? But I had,
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying, I had vision for what I wanted to do. What it made me do was master the art of being resourceful. So I mastered being able to do stuff with absolutely nothing, no budget, no none of the extra stuff. So everything that I do now, in my mind, low key, it's a luxury. So I can do much with absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that's important. That's
You
important.
know, it's interesting, especially like we're from New York, but I always admired the South. I was always a big fan of the South, and one of the things I always admired about the South is that the business acumen of a lot of the guys from the South early on, even from a Jay Prince, Master P,
Hmm.
Slim Baby. It seems like down south they was ahead of that wave as far as like independent and like selling music out your trunk, where the bigger
Mhm.
artists in New York at that time was
Can
signed to Def
yeah, can
Jam.
we get the Def Jam?
Yeah,
That
they
was
were
it.
signing the deals.
Bad Boy.
So the day and age that we in now, right, where it's like you don't technically need a label, but a lot of artists are still signing to labels. Like the biggest artists in the game are still signed to labels.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
like, how, you go ahead.
Well, I
You
was
gonna
just
say?
gonna say, I don't necessarily believe that everybody don't need to be signed to a label, and this is my thought process. Because at first I was like, bruh, what are y'all doing? They getting all your money, blah 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 blah. You could do this all yourself, but everybody don't got vision like that. Everybody can't like don't know how to brand themselves, market themselves, write their own stuff, direct their own videos. And I think because some of that stuff come like not necessarily easy, but natural to me. I'm thinking like, yo, y'all should be able to do this too if y'all just, you know what I'm saying, put the grind forth. But that's not how everybody not built like that. And everybody, some people do need people to like brand it all up, market it all up, package it all together for you. Get somebody to write your stuff, get somebody to direct your video. You don't really got no vision for how you want to put your stuff out. You know what I'm saying? So I used to be on everybody should be independent. Now I really don't even. I promise you, I'm 50-50.
But so yeah, so what I was gonna ask is like, you as an independent artist coming up, right? Like, how
Yeah,
important? Because we talk to business owners a lot on the podcast. And we talk about systems, like creating systems. But I feel like for
yeah.
artists, you have to have systems in place as well. Like as far as like you said, your merch, your videos. So when did you realize that you have to actually have systems in place, and how was it actually putting systems in place to actually run your music like a bit? It is a business. So like, can you talk about that for like aspiring artists that may want to be independent, but they don't really know how to run a business and they're not really sure about like the best way to go about it?
Yeah, I realized I needed systems in place when I was about to burn out and die, trying to package all the stuff, write all the songs, help produce all the songs, direct all the videos, and the merch thing was real tough for me. But I had to get, but choosing like a specific type of person and a specific group of people to help me with the stuff that I'm doing was extremely key. I need a specific type of person. You got to be good people, and then you got to understand that we independent. Like there's not whatever needs to be done, we gonna have to do it. And I had to get people that had that mindset and not the like 9 to 5 stuff should already be taken care of type of mindset. So
Say, when, no, go ahead, Toby.
no. That's basically it. I just had to get a specific type of person, and I'm real family oriented, real relational. So I do all of this with my family, and like I said, I mastered the art of being resourceful. So I literally chose to do this with people who I do life with, and not that they were just like extreme experts and nothing like that, because they weren't. My wife ain't know nothing about none of this industry. Nell was literally just starting to make beats when I started to rap. So she wasn't like Timberland, Swiss. She wasn't like no crazy producer like that. The majority of the stuff that she was sending me was like poochies, trash.
Y'all gonna grow together.
Yeah, 100%, dog. We got to work this way when you coming up. You can't like be like, oh, let me get up there. Nah, find somebody that's on your level, and then everybody come up together.
That's something we stress a lot is like look sideways, man. You don't always have to look up to find somebody who's doing it the best. Like a lot of times, if you look to the side, you can grow together. So that's
Yeah.
definitely important. Take, I want to bring you in because we're talking about financial literacy and how it affects artists. And I want to know how ABP, because we learned through music. We admittedly talk about that a lot. Like we learned a lot of our lessons through music. I want to know what the role that ABP is going to be playing in terms of getting that financial literacy, financial growth to our community.
Well, it's a critically important question. So Advancing Black Pathways, we launched in 2019, really to focus on strengthening the economic foundation of the Black community. And a key part of that is the financial health, because too often people make the mistake in thinking it's how much you make, but it's not what you make, it's what you keep and grow. And so talking about financial health, which has been a taboo topic in our community, right? My parents didn't talk to me about money, right? So if I then enter like the work world, these things, weren't firsthand to me, and working in banking. So for us, we've launched a number of initiatives to really promote, the dialogue and show what tools you can leverage so that you can actually grow and build wealth. So it is important. And about the music, one thing that's interesting to me is the evolution of materialism or the finances in the music. See, I remember when Dougie Fresh was talking about, I'm in the Cherokee and Chill Wills in the Audi, right? And then you go along, and all of a sudden you got the Lambos and Bugattis. Like something happened in that time frame, but yet we don't hear the focus on the assets that actually, grow and that enable you to build wealth and appreciate versus depreciate. So just getting people to really anchor on, how do you build and grow wealth?
So, all right, it's so coming from a corporate background, you're in the corporate world, right? So you guys have three different, pathways with wealth creation, careers, and education, right? So can you talk about each one individually? Because I think one thing, we talk a lot with entrepreneurs and stuff like that, but as even Toby said, everybody's not going to be an entrepreneur, and that's okay. Like some people are just not cut out to be entrepreneurs, right? So I'm interested to hear your idea about careers, because we know, even I think Black women get college degrees at the highest rate, but they're still underpaid.
Also launch businesses at the fastest rate out of any demographic as well.
Absolutely, and they get venture capital at the lowest rate.
0.2%.
Yep. So yeah, how do we make this right in the corporate world?
So what we're doing from Advancing Black Pathways is, one, supporting the entrepreneurship, but I'll get to that. But the education piece for us, we made a commitment to hire 4,000, Black students, right, and put them on pathways where they can earn, great, have a great career and earn, again, a lot of money. And so that was important for us. And in the first year, we hired over 1,000 students, but really giving them that pathway and showing them the art of the possible, but also, overlaying financial health. So we did this at Howard University, and we're doing it at all schools, but to try to, at an earlier stage, make sure we're highlighting the importance of financial topics, because, and you may appreciate this, our generation, we used to talk about keeping it 100, which meant keeping it real. And I want to get people talking about keeping it 700, meaning keeping your credit score above 700 so that you can access the banking industry. And so that's where we have to shift the dialogue and really talk about, as we're thinking about education in our career, focus on financial health earlier. And the importance of entrepreneurship, that's where wealth is created. Black entrepreneurs have 12 times the net worth of Black non-entrepreneurs, right? So that's why we've created this program to truly get access to capital, content, advisory services for Black entrepreneurs, because that's the only way we're going to really create jobs and grow and strengthen our community. Entrepreneurship has always been the way for Black folks when there was no corporate path, right? And so entrepreneurship remains critical for our wealth building in our community.
I'm thinking now, especially from an artist standpoint, could there be some type of financial service company that comes along and decides to partner with an artist or a brand like United Masters to give people a training, right? I know that 21 Savage is doing financial literacy, and I love what Killer Mike is doing, and obviously what we're trying to do for the community. But in other professions, even in the NBA, they have a rookie camp, or something that prepares them for what's about to happen when they come into money. I'm wondering what you think the benefits of that would be. Toby, you can answer that, and Sekou, you can answer from the financial service standpoint, the benefits of that, and why we haven't come to form a coalition that would facilitate that.
Well, I think it'll be phenomenal, because I feel like there's so many artists that don't have a clue what's going on in the industry when they get involved. And I'll be honest, when I first started doing music, I didn't have a clue. I just had the talent and the vision to do what I was doing, but I had to get with some people who were well versed in the industry that could give me game. I got with, you know what I'm saying, Steve Stout gave me a lot of game when I first went to meet with him in his office and let me know, like, hey, just keep doing what you're doing. Like, you're doing all the things that you need to do, and you really don't need no label. And in my mind, I was like, shoot, I might have to get a label when I first started, but it's because I didn't have any foreknowledge of the industry. So I think financial literacy and then just literacy of the industry, if a coalition could be set up for artists in that vein, it'll be monumental, and labels would be hurt.
Yeah. I agree. And I think, taking away the shame, like no judgment, no shame. Like sometimes we don't want to talk about, as it relates to at least financial services, some of these topics because we may not know, but anything else you would ask if I'm visiting in Houston, I'm going to ask him, hey, where should I get my haircut? Like, or where should I pick up something for tonight? But I'm not asking you, hey, how'd you get your mortgage? Like what process did you go through? Right. And when we can create those dialogues in a way that, again, makes the information readily accessible, and then we're promoting those dialogues within the community, like Steve Stout could put you on game, and not only about as an artist, but more broadly how he's navigated. And so I think that's what's needed in this time more than ever, that the information has to be shared. Right. And so that's through Advancing Black Pathways, what we're trying to do. Like, I don't care if you bank with JP Morgan Chase or not. You should know your credit score. I'll tell you how to get it free. Credit Journey at Chase. It's not about Chase. This is about the Black community and making sure we have these tools readily available where people can access it and learn.
Yeah, I think I was watching Drink Champs one day, and Noriega had actually said that rappers should have a union.
Yeah.
Even like actors have the SAG, and it's like, even, because Beanie Siegel's one of our favorite artists, and when he was like, I can't eat off $100,000, no dental plan, like, it's like you don't even have benefits. So it's a lot of stuff that young aspiring artists don't fully understand. But Sekou, I have a question, and actually I would love to get Toby's input on it as well. So I'm in the financial services industry, and the disconnect that I've seen, and I think one of the reasons why Earn Your Leisure is so popular is that in the Black community, there's been a lot of initiatives, but I think the messenger is extremely important, like who's relaying the message, right? Because it's like a lot of times, especially young people, but even older people, they feel disconnected, disenfranchised with traditional institutions and people, the delivery of certain people. So even if it's good intentions, it's like if you don't have a credible messenger or a relatable messenger, then it kind of just goes over people's heads. And like I said, I think that's one of the reasons that people really like our podcast, because they see us as just regular people, and we just dress like regular people. We're not like, we don't have ascots. Right? We're not the most polished as far as our diction is concerned.
That was good. That was good.
So how are you guys, Chase? How are you? Because I feel like Troy said, we learn from rappers. Honestly, like we learned more from Jay-Z. He's our guy. We learned more from Jay than we learned in high school. And I even feel now, like I feel like for Meek Mill to make financial literacy cool is even more powerful than, the Secretary of Treasury. Like nobody even knows his name.
They can't pronounce his name. They can't spell his name. They don't know him.
They're gonna do a worse job butchering the name than I did earlier. So who does Chase have to relay this message? First for you, Sekou, and Toby, for you, how important is hip hop in being responsible? And because you guys have a tremendous voice, like you put that Breonna Taylor video out and it gets millions of views. It goes viral.
All on my feed.
So hip hop artists, I think, have a tremendous voice, responsibility, but if they're not educated themselves, then they can't.
Right.
So Sekou, who's the messengers that Chase is going to use to get this message of financial literacy out to the community?
Yeah, so I want to address the hip hop piece really quickly, because Jay-Z, I agree. The story of OJ, that lyric about Dumbo, I could have bought a $2 million building that then sold for $25 million. How do I feel, Dumbo? I mean, yes, like if people have the insights, they can absolutely incorporate it, into the music. In terms of like the messenger, that becomes critically important. Blacks, for good reason, don't trust a lot of large institutions because our history in this country, some of these institutions have not served us well, quite frankly. And so that's why we work with a board of advisors. So I work really closely with Kevin Hart, for instance. And in one of the meetings, Kevin Hart was like, what you just said is exactly what he said, that he's involved with Advancing Black Pathways because he wants to reach the community and have people hear from his mistakes. And I took him around Harlem Children's Zone and different schools in New York to talk to these students about his money mistakes. So when you thought he was making money, he would tell you, I was dead broke, right? And here's the mistakes I made along the way. And so I think unless you have credible messengers, right? And I'll give you the best example of a credible messenger. The CEO of Chase Bank is a black woman, Tashonda Brown Duckett. She runs the largest bank in this country. The actual CEO of the banking side, Chase, the fact that we have a black woman running the largest bank in this country, it is unheard of, right? And so again, and she can leverage that same intentionality. So as we've built all these new branches across the country, we've built these branches, some of these branches in black and brown communities, right? And so we can be intentional about how we reach, how we hire, who we hire, because that's the way you could truly reach people in the community. So while not perfect by any means, but that is at least a start where to your point, if you don't have the right messenger, like you're gonna lose me from the get-go. So that is a very critical point, and we're very mindful of it, and that's why we want to hire, right? That's why we're hiring people across the bank. That's why we're hiring black financial advisors that understand us, that can give us messaging that really is appropriate as well. So it's a great question, and that's the intentionality we have with Advancing Black Pathways.
Toby, how do you feel about hip hop's role? And because we see hip hop taking a stance on police brutality and a lot of stuff, but financial literacy, I feel like the reason why our podcast is successful is because a lot of artists, Rick Ross, Jay-Z, Nipsey Hussle,
Nas,
yes, have taken a stance on financial literacy. So what is hip hop's role in relaying this message?
I really think. Hold on, real quick. My baby is going out of her mind. Hey,
Okay.
I'm doing a conference.
That's us.
I got 2 under 1.
Wow. I
You know
got
what I'm
3.
saying?
But
Yeah, my back-to-back game stronger than Drake. I ain't gonna lie to you. All right, so but this is what I would say. I think it really depends on the artist, and I had to learn this myself because I am very conscious of every single thing that I put out, and I want my stuff to my stuff is for a specific group of people who come from where I come from, who didn't have anybody to give them game. Similar to what y'all do at Earn Your Leisure, you're literally trying to give game to the people who ain't gonna get this information too many other places. So that's me specifically, but everybody ain't getting involved in music to do that. Some people just got in music to get money. Some people just got in music to for whatever reason, but it ain't to literally empower your people. You understand what I'm saying? Some people got into flash to some people were very lame growing up and they won't get chicks now, and this is their means to, you know what I'm saying, fill that void that they got in their life. So I hold artists to a completely different standard, and I would hold them accountable to whatever it is to the financial literacy stuff if that was somewhere embedded in their goal for when in their why or their reason for starting to do music. If that ain't really what you got into it for, I can't really hold you accountable to that. I could just, you know what I'm saying, I could just be like, well, you're really kind of working against the grain and really working against my message, but why I got in ain't why you got in. So I think it really just depends on the artist. I think, who was it? I think Dave Chappelle said something like, in times of crisis, or in one of his stand-ups or something like that, he was like, the last thing you want to hear is, what does Ja Rule think on? You know what I'm saying? Right, I have no clue and watch this, and it's not like the Ja Rule, but you know what I'm saying? I understand what the joke was. Like, it's a lot of stuff going on right now, and Ja ain't never put himself out there as the person that's gonna be the go-to person for Black trauma.
Shout out to Hollis Queens.
Another like point on that, and I was listening to Yo Gotti has his song out, Recession Proof, which again captures basically the cycles we've seen, that whether it was the NBA lockout in '99 where you had cats selling their watches, which he talks about in his lyric. Like if we don't incorporate like this financial literacy early on, people don't realize as you begin to make money, like you can hit recessions, it could be COVID-19. And so that's why, like, if you're learning these concepts early and you're saving and you have a liquidity, a rainy day fund, then you can navigate the storm. Because then what happens is, like, we get caught, one, we're starting with less, given structural inequities in this country. Two, even the businesses or the artists, you may have less cash on hand. And so if you're not managing that, like, you could be right at your breakthrough, but because you haven't been able to navigate the storm, you have to make decisions that don't ultimately, prepare you to continue to capitalize on your talent. And so again, I think the creative mindset, like you're an artist because you're creative, right? And so we still have to marry in that financial health. It doesn't have to be your main thing. It just needs to be a part of how you navigate your personal life. That's not about your artistry as much as it is about maximizing what is done from your artistry.
Yeah.
Sekou, really quickly, I'm happy you said that we have to start early. I was wondering, ABP, are we going into schools? Are there educational programs, mentorships, internships? Because that was something that our podcast was founded on, was like we were dealing with teenage kids who had nothing to do over the summer, and we were giving them internships and paying them. I'm wondering if Chase is doing that. Is that part of the initiative as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And we launched the ABP Apprentice Program to reach college students earlier, so freshmen and sophomores. So it doesn't matter if you didn't come from a corporate background. We want to get you earlier so that you can navigate and see you could be successful. And one of the things we did that I was proud of this summer is that even though we had to do this internship virtually and shortened it, I'm paying these students for the entire summer, right? Because I don't want them shortchanged because of COVID-19, and we're still going to make sure they have access to, again, the content, the tools, they grow their careers and are able to still perform well. So yes, we have to create these opportunities, these internships. Another one of the things we did this year that I was proud of is we launched a hardship fund, because 45% of Black students come from poverty zip codes. So we launched the ABP Hardship Fund to ensure that students don't have to drop out because they have a financial hardship. I remember cats that owed the bursar's office $500 so they couldn't graduate or couldn't register for class, right? And so then that's the worst of all worlds, because you end up dropping out, you have the student loan debt and no degree. So we're using that hardship fund to help these students stay in, but also look to then hire them and provide financial help. So yes, we're starting with students and try to incorporate it and make it part of freshman orientation for as many schools as we can.
Toby, I have a question. You are Nigerian, but you grew up in SWAT, which I'm assuming is a predominantly African American neighborhood. So I did some research, and you said you got experiences from both sides of the coin, from the Black American experience and the African experience. So my question is, we're in a day and age where Afro beats is really, the vibe right now, and even going back to Ghana was a big thing last year. How can we bridge the gap between the different cultures, between African Americans and people on the continent of Africa, for not just economic development, although that is important, but just culturally and just different things of that nature? You have a unique perspective on that. So I think that's one of the things that can actually drive the needle as well if we do more collaboration across continents. So have you thought about that?
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like I low-key am designed to be a portion of the bridge. I feel like every firstborn generation, Nigerian, Ghanaian, Kenyan, whoever is first generation born here, who went to school and had a full Black American experience, and then came to the crib and it was like you was in the village. You are wired. I'm being serious. You wired different. So I literally. So this, all right. So and I said this one time when I did a little interview at Harvard, and some of my Nigerians who still in Nigeria, they got a little offended. But I'm telling you, we got a real unique perspective. So when you hear somebody in Nigeria trying to rap do pure hip hop, like you can tell if somebody from Nigeria trying to do hip hop. You're like, bro, I promise you, I see what you're trying to do, but it really don't boom. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know, but if you heard them doing like what what Wiz Kid and like when you hear him on some Afrobeat stuff, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that's the vibe. And then like Black Americans hear that like, oh, I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they want that piece. But it's like, so when I do hip hop, it's like I don't sound like a Nigerian trying to sound black. I'm a Nigerian who had a pure black experience and had a pure Nigerian experience. So when it comes off as authentic and like unique in itself, to where like somebody like Wale can do the same thing, to where he could play like sample. Oh man, I don't even know if y'all know the song like that. Sweet Mother. Sweet Mother. I ain't really Nigerian like that, but see, I ain't gonna. You know what I'm saying? But like we are, I think like it's people, all the first generation born people in the U.S. and abroad or wherever, whether you in the U.K. or whatever. Like I feel like our perspective is specifically designed to be a bridge for everybody to go back and do what we doing here, there. But it comes with, you know what I'm saying, nations doing like what Ghana is doing. Like Ghana is making it so live to just want to go back. Ghana make it feel like you're going to Wakanda. You know what I'm saying? Like they had, when I saw all the videos and stuff and everybody being there, I'm like, yo, that's really what I wish everybody was on. Let's take what we doing here, go set up shop over there, and like really flourish. Like that's really the dream, and I feel like eventually that's what it's gonna get to on the low.
That's a fact. So they just let us know. We got one more question. So say cool. What is the last thing that you want to leave the people with that will, you know, solidify Chase's commitment to the Black community moving forward, not just, you know, this year, but in the next decades to come?
Yeah, no, definitely. We all are out here chasing the change, and in addition to chasing it, you want to make it grow. And so the message I would leave is that this is, despite everything going on, we're at a point in history where we are going to, you know, overcome this and have access, in my view, to greater opportunities. But we have to force that to happen. It's not going to just happen just because. And so I think what we're going to do from Advancing Black Pathways is just to double down on our investment in the Black community across all of these areas. And so financial health will remain critically important. Entrepreneurship, whether you're an artist, you're artist and entrepreneur, right? So making sure we are providing access to the tools that they need so they can be successful. And then we're also, if you want to take a different route and go corporate, we really don't care what route you want to go. We want to definitely be helping and assisting on that journey.
So Toby, we're going to end with this, man. Our slogan is assets over liabilities, right? And as an artist, man, I want you to think about this. Your best financial decision and your worst financial decision.
My best financial decision is once I paid off Fat's Hyundai Accent, driving it still to this day. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about what nobody think. That thing get me to A to B, and I'm not trying to impress none of y'all. Bro, I got me a wife, I got kids, we Gucci. Worst financial decision. I'll be honest with you, I don't really got none. I'm cheap, and I still, you know what I'm saying? I still maneuver like I don't need much. So I think, hold on, let me give you one. Let me force one real quick. What's a bad financial decision? This whole little towel set that Fat just made me buy, and all the towels that she bought, they all like just be linted up, and they just shed every single time you wash them, and they useless. That's what my worst financial decision is. Yeah, make sure this go live so Fat can run this back and see this. Towels scratch.
But I like his mindset, though, and he said it earlier, that, again, he operated, you know, even without the budget. In that point, he was talking about the budget for, you know, promotion, et cetera. And I think that if you keep that mindset, the more successful you become. Like, at the end of the day, I didn't grow up like I live. I'm going to be quite real on that, right? I had a Pell Grant, like, you know, free and reduced lunch, the whole nine. But because I kept the mentality that I wasn't going to just be a spender and have to prove to people, that I'm doing well. And that's the mistake we make. We too busy trying to prove, whereas, brother here is like, no, I'm good, because if you're not on my journey, like, why am I impressing you? Right? Like my music, my craft speaks for me. And that's how you're able to build wealth. And I have, again, 3 kids. He has 2. Like, you have a mindset shift when you talk about building that generational wealth for them. So the things that may have mattered, as a single guy, like, doesn't really matter as you're a father and you're thinking about generational wealth and what you're going to leave for them and for their children.
Yep.
Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Toby, keep up the great work. We are fans, and we are rooting for you. Yeah. When we come to Houston after this COVID-19 thing is over, hopefully we can get it. We got a lot of love in Houston. Shout out to Don Key. You know him?
Lil Kiki?
Yeah.
Oh, y'all fuck with King?
Yeah, that's our guy. That's our guy.
Oh, y'all. Kiki is like legendary.
That's our guy.
I was like, hold on, maybe they know another Kiki, and I'm sleeping.
He came to our Houston. Yeah. Remember we ran into him and Paul Wall.
We flew back to New York with him and Paul
Wall. Shout out to Houston. We got a lot of love in Houston. We
definitely got to connect down to Houston. Just to act like it was somebody and see what happened, but just joking.
Yeah, nah, but man, when we come to
Junebug. Yeah, Junebug, my boy. Not just joking.
Yeah,
Junebug. We definitely got to connect, man. But once again, we definitely are fans of your music and just the whole vibe that you got. I really think that is dope. So keep up the great work. And say cool. It was a pleasure being introduced to you.
Yeah, definitely.
And hopefully we can, stay in touch and keep up the great work that you're doing. I think it's great that we actually, because you guys are in different spaces, but we got to highlight a variety of different people in the Black experience, because everybody has a part to play and everybody is doing it on a different path, whether it's in the corporate world, whether it's through music, whether it's through entrepreneurship, whether it's through fashion, whether it's through spoken word, whether it's through activism. And we can never downplay another person's position. It's like a basketball team. Everybody's got their own roles to play, and no one person is more important than a team. And we're all a team at the end of the day. So thank you to both of you, gentlemen, and thank you to United Masters, the good folks of United Masters.
That's what I said, man. And we always stress equality and equity is important, but economic empowerment is the other E that we have to stretch, and everybody here is part of that. So I appreciate y'all, brothers.
Yes.
Love.
Love is love.